Hello and welcome to the extremely quick final section of this level that I thought I would do on the next day. Begin as you intend to continue and all that. So we're in the room that contains Thor. Here is Thor. Mjolnir is in front of him. There's actually a shield to his left. And I've just come down from up here. My current goal, having just picked up a little goblet of Amrita there, is to swing across here. The swinging controls in this game are a little wonky. You can see how the sort of the animation is all cut up into sections and so on. Who thought I was going to make that? That's the shield that you can pull. Now, because Lara possesses truly Herculean strength, I'm going to give this a good tug. Whiz it round like that. And that means you can then move along there to get to the next side, to get to the other side, which I need to do next. I think. That over there is the corpse of the thrall that I kicked down here. There's those enemies known as thralls, I believe. Are there any treasures here? Don't think so. See, Thor and Jormungandr have a series of encounters in Norsemith. Oh, that's a troll. That's what we're going. You stomp them before they go back up. I think these two always respawn no matter what happens. If you jump off them, they don't do anything. They were really trying to encourage people to jump off the enemies in this game because they were touting interaction with enemies as a primary quality of the game. That's the way back that way. The section in the Vader where they're discussing Soma. Is there another one? Good lord. I'm going to kick this one. They're really vulnerable to kung fu, these guys. If you just kick them, they get really unhappy about it. They take a lot of damage from kung fu. Anyone else? No. So that's actually the Vader discussing the Soma stuff. So our maladies have lost their strength and vanished. They feared and passed away into the darkness. Soma hath risen in us exceeding mighty. A nice way of putting it. So anyway, I've got to get up here, I think. I know, I have to get up here maybe. Round we go. Oh yes, I have to jump onto this. Get rid of the Iter. This room design is actually quite interesting because on your way back up, you have to use the rings on the jaws of each of these to get up. And that means that it effectively becomes a timed puzzle because the Iter starts to rise again. Thor and Jormungandr have a couple of encounters in the... I think if I jump... I'm not actually certain if I can get... I can probably just jump back off here, can't I? Yep. Come on, can I keep you back a little? Yes, there we go. Ignominious end. The first encounter... Well, I mean, Jormungandr is one of the three children of Angerboda, a female Jotun, and Loki. They seem to have not much success, producing first Fenrir, then Jormungandr, then Hel. Fenrir being the extremely large wolf that I think Tyr fights at the end in Ragnarok. Tyr and Fenrir having had a lot of disagreements. It's quite cool, this actually. That little thing, you can twist your rope around it and pull it down. Very nice. Hel is an interesting character because in the early, well, from what we can, it's possible that early on she was a place, as in hell, and then later on she became the personification of hell. So she's both person and place, as in go to hell, but also she owned it. She was half dead. She lived there right at the bottom of Yggdrasil, the World Tree. Fenrir was an extremely large wolf who had to be tied down oddly by ribbons that grew stronger every time he struggled. And Jormungandr was the middle child. And Jormungandr, the first time Loki encounters Jormungandr, he's at the court of the Jotun, and the king challenges him. Oh, this is Meginjord, Thor's belt that doubled his strength, I think. Oh, and there is a treasure over there that I should quickly collect. So yes, the king of the Jotun challenges Thor to pick up what looks like a cat. And so Thor, being Thor, goes, "Ha ha, you crazy fool, of course I can pick up that as a cat." And he can only just lift one paw off the ground. It turns out, of course, oh, I can move this around. How delightful. I'm not even sure. I think the first time I played this, I escaped this without moving this. So let's see if I can do it again. This means I can move it with the gloves, you know, drag it around a bit. So how did I get out of it the first time I did this? Oh, I know. I probably just hooked onto the thing up there and then swung onto that, I would imagine. Let's give that a go. And the item comes pouring out. Let's get swing. Jump. Yeah, that's good. And then later on, of course, the king reveals to Thor that he was impressed even that he managed to lift the thing. The paw. The second time, Thor is fishing with Hymnir, another giant. And Hymnir says they're going to catch some fish, so Thor, being a nice chap, cuts the head off one of Hymnir's oxes. Says, "I want to catch a bigger game, pretty much." And of course, after catching a couple of whales, as you do, Thor ends up hooking Jormungandr. Of course, Thor wants to kill it, but Hymnir, being a little bit wiser, simply sends it away. And of course, the third encounter is the one she mentions, which is where Ragnarok. Zombies? Really? Oh, I did mention those two respawn, didn't I? In the encounter at Ragnarok, of course, he smites Jormungandr and then dies a few paces later. 9 from the Serpent's Venom. That's where I've got to get to. Oh, I've got to go from top of the hammer, haven't I? Yes, I do. So let's chimney up there, I guess. Well, the nice thing about Thor's hammer is it could shrink down the size of a pendant, so you used to get a lot of Norse jewellery that revolved around that looked like Thor's hammer. Here we go. From what I remember, this jump is extremely irritating because you have to jump, swing off that, but you have to slightly correct your angle. Let's try this. Or do I? Let's give this a go. Oh, success! So now, because I pulled that down, the whole thing fills back up again. I believe I can now grab this treasure. Delicious. This game is quite interesting because it draws from the mythologies of two treasures even. It draws from the mythologies of several different groups which have opposed groups of gods. The Vedic gods, you have the Deva and the Asura, and originally the Asura were not evil. They're now often thought of as being demons, but they went through a process of demonization, as did the Zoroastrian equivalents. There's another, in fact, another nice link linguistically with the Proto-Indo-European religion, or at least the reconstructed, hypothesized Proto-Indo-European religion. Okay, are there any more treasures? Sorry, I'm just a little bit distracted. I'm just trying to work out if there are any treasures. I bet I missed about 5 or 6 treasures. I never 100% of this level because I just never quite looked them up. But this, the idea is that there was a head god of the Proto-Indo-European faith whose name would have been something like Zeus. As a consequence, you get Jauspitar and Zeus from that. Jauspitar being another Vedic god, the ruler of the heavens. But yes, and in the Norse mythology you have the Aesir and the Vanir. The Vanir being Njord, Freya and all that. And the Aesir being, well, all really famous ones, to be honest, are Aesir. All the mighty motorbike cruisers worth. I think there are going to be some spiders up here. Well, the Aesir and the Vanir never quite, they never split into they competed with each other, but they never, you know, it was never the case that the Vanir was the evil. Good lord. Stuck on there. Okay, there we go. Yes, and in Zoroastrianism, you've got the Devas, again, similar word to the Vedic, because they were all coming from the same cultural root, and the Gathas. Oops, sorry, no, the Devas became evil. Okay. Let's go over. So the Gathas is the name of the holy text. Oops. Oh yes. So every time I do this section before, I always end up killing myself on the third one. So I was like, I remember that I've got to stop for the third one, and yes, I avoided it. Camera gets relatively uninformative in this section. You go right, I believe? Yes. There we go. And no more spiders either, I hope. But you remember that earlier on, that fellow who got crushed by the pillar going across, he had one of those little Mayan heads in his hand. Here we are about to find out what the Mayan head is used for. Because obviously, head-operated machinery. Actually, it's quite Olmec. The Olmecs loved huge heads. Left huge heads everywhere. Mines didn't quite go in for it as much. I'm going to give myself a bit of a run up here. No, no, no. Good. Good. I keep trying to control this like this is Borderlands. She ignores where you point to the mouse. Here is our missing head. No, put the head on, old girl. Please tell me I picked up the head. Oh my goodness, I didn't pick up the head. Well, back I go. I'm sure I'm just going completely insane. Let's just check. I suppose I've got the bike, so it's just a straight line. Well, I can't really drive it. Here we go. You see, Olmec's interesting because they did leave behind a huge number of, well, basically gigantic heads. Very noticeable. Oh, I see. Whichever one of these I'm... You have to rise up. Come on, I'll go. Yes. There's actually a new Tomb Raider game coming out fairly soon, and surprisingly, I think it's actually going to be really quite good. Aside from possibly some slightly... Oh, the spiders spawn when you do that, okay. The pit. Oh dear. This is not going so well, is it? Yeah, there's a bit of... I mean, I think the new game has possibly come up from unfair criticism on the basis that there was an implied sexual assault in one of the scenes. I think some of the criticisms were a little bit unfounded in the sense that it was felt that the writers had taken a cheap and easy way of adding some drama to a backstory by adding sexual assault. I think it's slightly unfair because it seemed to be one minor element in what was a long coming of age story. I think also some people felt like making a character like Lara Croft is effectively made of Teflon. She's invulnerable. Betrays no sign of human weakness in any of these games. My favourite thing is Kazakhstan. She goes into a huge trade crash, explosions everywhere, comes off, and the only thing that happens is she loses her jacket because it catches on fire, but she's completely fine. Couldn't give a toss. Go around. FPS is rather suffering here. Here we are. I didn't actually pick up the head well. That's what you get for not paying attention. I think that did quite frustrate me the first time I played it. I never realised I had to, or at least I didn't realise that head needed to be picked up. I got a little frustrated being able to pull the lever. Yeah. I mean, I also think that one of the developers made a slightly unfortunate comment about the player wanting to protect Lara. I kind of understand why that's a little bit paternalistic and creepy, but on the other hand, I think if your purpose is to present the character to the player as someone who is not invulnerable, as someone who is vulnerable, then inherently part of that involves them considering the welfare of the character in a slightly more serious sense. Like, if you're trying to portray someone who's being injured... Oh god, really again? I don't really have the patience to fight these spiders. I find them the least fun enemy type to fight. No, goodbye spiders. It's one of the consequences of humanising your character is that you make them seem vulnerable. I mean, because it's an origin story, I'm willing to accept it on a temporary basis. If they keep the constant injury and misery theme the whole way through, then it could get a little bit tiring and perhaps a little bit exploitative. I think again it depends on why you're meant to be playing the game. It's why, it's why things like Saw or Hostel feel a little bit exploitative. It's because you watch it and there's nothing else going on, so it feels like the only purpose of watching this is to watch young people get dismembered and brutalised, destroyed in various different ways. Whereas presumably the game will have some interesting gameplay and story to make up for it. I'm hoping also there'll be a much less dramatic Tomb Raiding second half. Well, not less dramatic, but less traumatic, shall we say, second half. Of less killing people, more Tomb Raiding and so on. So that... What do you think? From what I've seen of the gameplay itself, it looks pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of the voice actress they picked. She's called Camilla Lunnington. She's spent a little bit too much time in the States, and she's picked up some bad American habits, which is, you know, ordinarily I wouldn't mind too much, but this character is meant to be so English, he shits the Queen. And indeed, I mean, Keely Hawes, who does the voice in this, has such great elocution. And it seems a little bit like a little sad. Ooh, nearly killed myself one more time. I was not expecting to make such a meal of this, sorry chaps. But yeah, I mean that's my take. I hope that if they can do making the character seem relatively vulnerable through inexperience without making it seem exploitative or pornographic, then that's one thing. I trust Crystal Dynamics a relatively large amount. They've done a pretty good job with the Tomb Raider games. They did a great job with Legacy of Kain games, so I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. If it turns out the game is absolutely horrendous in execution, then, well, what you can do. Jump. Da, da, da. I'll show the business on that right. Victory! The next area is Jan Mayen Island. We're looking for the actual hammer itself now, having got the belt and gloves.
I have everything I need to get Thor's hammer. Do you have better coordinates for me?
Yeah, I only answered Dad's photos of the map. I'm uploading to a meeting now.
And your other project?
Haven't tracked them down yet. I'm still working on it.
Very good. I'll call when I get to Jan Mayen Island.
So, thank you for watching. I hope to do the next step within the next couple of days. I'm planning on doing them much more frequently to get this game done relatively quickly, and then I'll see if there's something else I'll do. I think Snow Heavy is certainly better than Snow Light. Yeah, it looks much better. Anyway,